the problem with California is forestry management. All these things that they're doing are making it far easier for fires to grow and spread and be huge. If they want the money, then there should be consequences where they have to change their policies.
Folks, just when we thought that the Republican depravity couldn't get any worse, they've gone ahead and done the impossible and surprised me once again, taking the lead from the way Trump used to refuse aid to blue states. A member of the House GOP is going on Fox News and threatening to withhold federal aid to California unless they rake their forests. That's right, Trump's recycling old conspiracy theories from the first term, and just like every sequel, it's worse than the original. Because this time, the House and the Senate and the Supreme Court are full of MAGA brain morons. Take a look at what Representative Warren Davidson said on Fox.
What are your thoughts on the disaster relief that no doubt will be needed for Los Angeles?
Well, we included disaster relief for Western North Carolina and Florida in the wake of hurricanes recently in East Tennessee. And no doubt we need to address fires. But the problem with California is forestry management. And we had good legislation on that. Bruce Westerman, who chairs the Natural Resources Committee, and it has a PhD in forestry management, has led this. We have truly qualified people leading this policy in Congress, but not in California. So all these things that they're doing are making it far easier for fires to grow and spread and be huge. And their insurance, we had hearings last summer on insurance policies in California, talking about the consequences for the policies that are happening. People are losing their home insurance coverage for fire because of policies that the state government's doing. And if they want the money, then there should be consequences where they have to change their policies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering if you know, your colleagues from California, these California lawmakers are going to be pushing for, you know, the states prone to disasters to have money allocated toward this, to push for
but California wants the money without changing the policies that are making the problem bad or worse. And I don't see how Republicans could possibly support that. I mean, we support the people that are plagued by disaster, but we have to put pressure on the California government to change course here.
I see. So has there been discussion already about the federal help that's coming to California? And are you saying that there's a little bit of pushback unless you see policy changes?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, how do you do that? Because you don't want to send the message to families, oh, we're not going to take care of you. They certainly didn't have a problem saying that to people in Western North Carolina in the Biden administration. Instead, the Biden administration, oh, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of everything. And so different response when it's out there where the Hollywood elites live. So that's disappointing from the Biden administration. Help is on the way from President Trump and a new administration. But when it comes to congressional funding, the idea that we're going to have an open checkbook, no matter how bad your policies are, is crazy. You know, Florida is prone to hurricanes, so they do lots of things to mitigate the risk of hurricanes. California is prone to fires, and they do things to make the fires worse instead of responding to make them more resilient.
Of course, as much money for Florida and North Carolina as they need, because they're red states, and no money for California unless they do what we want them to do, because they're a blue state. When in reality, the floods in North Carolina, the hurricanes in Florida, the fires in California, they're all tied to one pesky little thing that the GOP has denied is even real for the last 25 years. Climate change. Here's DeSantis denying that climate change is linked to hurricanes. But of course, the science is saying otherwise. But that's not going to stop the GOP from drill baby drilling. Not only that, his claims about forest management are absolutely false. Of course, since lying is just normalized nowadays, his claim that California has policies that make fires worse, while Florida somehow has policies that make hurricanes better, the reality is much, much different. Take it from officials in California who deal with these fires every single year.
Can you just explain even further about how this is not just something someone can run up and put out, and you all are literally battling against Mother Nature?
Simone, that's exactly right. It is a firefight. It is a fight against nature. And until somebody can have control over the wind, we're at the mercy of the weather right now. I try to really stay away from the social media tweets. It does get very frustrating. I didn't follow the tweet on X, but I followed a newspaper article from a print media, and they were quoting a congressman from Ohio who probably has little to no experience with a wildfire, and certainly not a California wildfire, but opining that the federal government should stop aid until we control the fire problem. People need to understand fire's been a part of the nature of California in this country since the beginning of time. When you add people, there's 40 million people in California, changes the fuel load. You can't manage every acre of forest land. And this is not a forest fire. This is a brush fire that transitions at the higher levels to more forested areas, at the lower level to urban areas and urban conflagration areas. When the wind is blowing and the fire gets ahead of steam, you are not going to stop it. California firefighters are the best in the world at fighting this type of a fire. And right now, you mentioned it, the mayor of LA and the fire chief, everything is settled down. Tensions are high everywhere. And it's really easy to let that get in front of things. Locally, that's ramped down. Everybody is focused on really two things that are, number one, the most important: getting our community out of harm's way and taking care of and putting this damn fire out. And until the weather changes for us, people can say and talk and do all they want, but we're at the mercy of the weather right now.
I've never seen a flood of misinformation surrounding a natural disaster like this, because while there's always conspiracies and there's always rumors during natural disasters, I mean, they are chaotic events, the misinformation in this case is purely political. It is targeted and injected directly into the mainstream so that natural disasters that are happening in blue states are entirely avoidable, but are the fault of the administrations in those states, while natural disasters that happen in red states are acts of God that nobody could have foreseen. When in reality, every scientist around the world has been screaming that climate change is the reason why every natural disaster around the world is getting worse. The misinformation is so bad that Gavin Newsom had to come out with this: a California Fire Facts website. And you can see here all of the deliberate misinformation they're having to combat. You can see Gavin Newsom here responding to Fox News, saying that he cut the fire budget by $100 million months before, when in reality, the Cal Fire budget has nearly doubled since 2019. Here's the claim that was made by Donaldson from Ohio. His entire state is a natural disaster. Lie. These wildfires are caused by California's mismanagement of forest lands. Fact. The budget for managing the forests, aka raking the forest, is now 10 times larger than it was when Gavin Newsom took office. It was around $200 million in 2018, and now it's close to $2 billion. California officials treated more than 700 acres of land for wildfire resistance in 2013, and prescribed fires, which are like controlled burns, more than doubled between 2021 and 2023. He has to debunk lies about doing this on purpose in order to change zoning laws, about prioritizing fish over people, about California running out of water. All of these are lies that are being repeated and amplified by the GOP, and it's going so far as them threatening to withhold federal aid for wildfire relief. They're threatening to not give the state the critical aid they need to rebuild destroyed infrastructure. Not only that, you saw Donaldson run interference for the insurance companies, saying that insurance is dropping people mid-fire, not because they're evil, greedy scum, but because of some magical Democrat policy that for some reason would make it hard for people to get fire insurance. No mention of the fact that over half of the Florida hurricane home insurance claims are rejected. No, we wouldn't want those greedy insurance companies to have to actually pay out, nor do we want them to catch any slack for dropping people's fire insurance right before a major fire. I have been railing about the death of civility politics. The decorum and respect that the nation generally had during natural disasters has unfortunately been thrown out the window. Now it's a game of pointing fingers and assigning blame. But I don't think the GOP understands how dangerous the game that they're playing is. Once people realize that the jig is up, well, let's just say the climate isn't the only thing that's going to be changing. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.